Hey everyone, thank you for watching. Today's video I'm so excited to do. I'm going to be talking about makeup products I think that I would love and I would wear all of the time if I was not a YouTuber and a full-time beauty influencer content creator. If that sounds interesting to you, let's go ahead and get started. Alright, welcome. So I'd like to start off with an outfit of the day for my videos. So this is my outfit today. I just ordered this skirt off of Amazon. It's a skirt, so it does have the shorts underneath, but I like it. It has like a straight front and then it's pleated in the back, and it also has a little zip pocket here, which I think is really cool. And then I just got this tank top a couple years ago from Express, and my flip-flops are from Kohl's. But that is what we have going on today. I didn't do any filming on this look, but I will link everything that I have on my face. Everything that I'm wearing is always in my description box. If you're new here, welcome. I hope that you'll subscribe. I post about 4 to 5 times a week, and I love to chat about makeup. And I have been, well, I've been a blogger since 2009. And that's when I first started my blog. I reviewed books, beauty products. I talked about fitness. I still have the blog running. It's chicletplus.com. In 2015, I started on YouTube. I did a lot of book reviews, and because I'm also a book blogger, I'm a self-published author of 8 novels. My 9th one is coming out soon. And in 2016, I rebranded my channel to really have this section be where I focused on beauty and my dog Gary. And I went full-time as a social media career 8 years ago. I've been doing this for quite some time, so it's a little bit hard to imagine, you know, what I would be like today and what the products would be like that I would really love. But I got this idea because of an eyeshadow palette that I will mention first. I've done some videos in the past, like what I think my makeup collection would look like if I was not a YouTuber. But I really wanted to share about the products that I think that I would love, what I would be wearing all the time, what I would be continuing to repurchase. So I have a few products in my collection that are not my favorites, but again, I think if I didn't have this gigantic makeup collection, if I wasn't constantly trying to review new products for my channel and for my other platforms, I think these would be products that I would reach for a lot and that I would really get on with. The eyeshadow palette that I'm referencing is from Urban Decay, and this is their new Naked Sin palette. Okay, little 6-pan palette looks like this. This is what it looks like. I'm just curious how many people are laughing at their screens right now that I talk about this, because one thing that I've definitely noticed over the years being a part of the beauty community on YouTube, the beauty community and social media, is we definitely think this way, right? We like to see the new releases. We like to see exciting things. We don't like to see things that are repetitive. We don't like to see products that are quote unquote boring. I fall into that. I say those same things myself a lot, and I try to remember, and it's something that I frequently bring up, I try to remember that there is a whole lot of other people that really enjoy a lot of these products that we on the internet give a hard time to. There is a whole lot of people that are not watching beauty YouTube, that are not watching beauty TikTok, that are not scrolling through Instagram for makeup reviews. They're just going to Sephora, Ulta, CVS, Walmart, wherever they're going. They're getting their makeup products and they're piecing out with their day. Even some of these products that I have to talk about in this video, I'm mentioning brands that I've stopped purchasing from as much because of drama and cancel culture, and I'm just afraid to talk about the brands or use their products on my channel because then I'm afraid I'm gonna get canceled. There's a whole lot of people out there that do not follow that, do not keep up with that, that don't know about the drama. So that's why I thought this video would be really interesting to do. But definitely, I was someone, when I talked about this in my new makeup releases video that I post every Wednesday, I was like, no, it's a pretty boring palette. You know, it's called, I did a tutorial with this on my Instagram the other day, and someone said, this palette is not sinful, but you are, which I thought was quite funny. They meant it in a good way. I was looking good that day, which I appreciated. But it's funny because I look at this palette and I think like, yawn, no, next. I want the new and exciting things. I want a palette that really grabs my attention right away. Because again, I have a lot of eyeshadow palettes. I test a lot of eyeshadow palettes. I do a video every single month on my channel ranking all of the palettes that I've tried. I try a lot of them. I truly think if I was not on YouTube, I would get down with this palette because I have been wearing it quite a bit lately. It's been sitting next to me on my desk. When I have just been running to the pool to meet with friends, I slap a few of these shades on. When I've just been running out to eat with a couple of friends, I slap these shades on. When I've been running out to the store and I just want a little bit of makeup on, slap these shades on. I have been reaching into this palette so much, and there was a point where I was like, I I think that I would really enjoy this palette. I didn't have 100 other eyeshadow palettes sitting in my collection. If I wasn't always trying to keep new and exciting and fresh things on my channel, I truly think that I would love this. And it's funny, I do have some other eyeshadow palettes that I'm going to be mentioning. I kind of thought of just making this eyeshadow palettes in the beginning, but there's a few other products that I want to expand on as well. But something that's just kind of a simple, everyday, neutral, basic palette. I don't have to think hard. It's easy to use. Even the shimmers, I can just use my fingers. If I was not a YouTuber, I think that I would absolutely love the Urban Decay Sin. And I still really like this palette. As a YouTuber, I still really enjoy this palette. Is it the most exciting in my collection? Is it gonna be my most reached for out of all of the eyeshadow palettes? No, but I still think that it's a nice one. I'll stick with eyeshadow palettes for a bit here. Another one that popped into my head was from Colourpop, and this is their Winnie the Pooh palette. Now, I've talked about this recently. Like I said, I rank eyeshadow palettes every single month on my YouTube channel, and the Winnie the Pooh has just kind of always fallen in the middle or a little bit towards the top of the list of like my least favorite, because I'm just like, it's, again, I say those same words. It's really not that like special. It's not super unique to my collection, which is large, and I try a lot of new eyeshadow palettes. But if I wasn't on YouTube and I just wanted, you know, some staples in my collection that I could go back to, I think that this is one that I would really enjoy. You have some neutrals, you have a few different pops of color in here, which is fun. If it's, you know, I'm going out and I want to do something a little bit crazy, I could do something a little bit crazy from this eyeshadow palette. It's also, you know, it's Winnie the Pooh. I'm not super familiar with a lot of shows or movies, but I do know Winnie the Pooh, and I think if I wasn't on YouTube, I'd be like, oh my gosh, what a cute collection, what a cute collab idea. This brand that's super affordable called Colourpop, they have this Winnie the Pooh palette. I definitely think that this would be something that I would be interested in, and I think that I would really get down with it, especially with the mixture of colors in here. I would think that was pretty fun, I think. Another one from Colourpop I'm going to mention, this is their new Getting Fresh palette, but really I just wanted to pull this one for reference, as I think that I would have a large palette in my collection. I really, really do, because before I was on YouTube, and even when I was first on YouTube but doing books and then switched over to beauty, I was buying these gigantic eyeshadow palettes. And I remember in the beginning, I was buying a lot of the Morphe palettes because I was new to getting onto YouTube. Everybody was a Morphe babe. Hey, hey. Everybody had these discount codes from Morphe, and I was like, what? I'm gonna get these big old palettes. I have all these shades. Look at me go. I think truly that I would have a large palette like this in my eyeshadow collection. Would it be Getting Fresh? Probably not. Quite honestly, I think a lot of people might think that I'm gonna say it would be a very neutral palette, but even when I was younger and my like aunts would gift me makeup, because I've always loved makeup, like my aunts would gift me like makeup sets. I mean, I used to have those like 60 pan eyeshadow palettes that you could get at like Walgreens during the holiday time that had every color imaginable. That's kind of what I picture mine as, like no cohesiveness, no color story, just like every single color. So I had a little bit of everything. That's what I imagine I would have, and I would love, and I would use a ton of if I was not on YouTube. Now I like something that's a little bit smaller, that has a little bit more of a color story. But if I was someone that only had a handful of eyeshadow palettes in my collection, I truly believe a big old mega palette would be one of those. I'm gonna come back to eyeshadow palettes in a little bit, but I wanted to mention a face palette too, because this palette, it was like something was niggling at me when I was using this face palette, and I was talking about how much I enjoyed it, and I couldn't figure out that it was a video idea that was coming my way. I had to try the Urban Decay for the video idea to finally click into place. But this Nars duo, this is their Summer Unrated Blush and Bronzer duo. So they have the Orgasm Blush and the Laguna Bronzer, two staples from Nars. When I was not on YouTube yet, or even just starting out on YouTube, I knew what Nars Laguna was. I used to get like Birchbox, you know, I got the Ipsy bags, but I think Birchbox was one of the first makeup subscriptions that I got. I still knew about makeup even without being on YouTube. I read magazines, I would read beauty tips out of there. I went to Mary Kay parties, and I was always someone that was raising my hand to ask questions because I was very curious about beauty, about skincare, about makeup. This one from Nars, this is another one where being on the online beauty community, I give Nars a hard time. I'm like, Nars, you're constantly coming out with the same products. We've seen the Laguna Bronzer, we've seen the Orgasm Blush, we've seen these eyeshadow palettes that you come out with. We want something new. Sure, we online, as the beauty community, we might want new stuff because that what keeps us intrigued. If I was not on YouTube, I would be buying this like crazy. And even now, I still really enjoy it because I came onto my video and I was almost kind of embarrassed to be like, I'm using this all the time. I went to New York City recently. This one in my travel makeup bag. Beautiful mirror on it. I was using it to get ready in the morning. I got a blush. I got a bronzer. How great. 2 products in this one compact. That's amazing. It's Nars. It makes me feel a little bit fancier. Maybe if I was going to one of my girlfriend's house for a night out, I'm going to be like, I'm going to pack my nice makeup. So when we're all comparing makeup bags, because we definitely have always done that, I can at least like have a little bit of Nars in there and be like, oh, she fancy. Ooh. Again, this is just one of those that I really enjoy. I think that there's definitely an audience for it, and that's, again, it's something that you hear me say in a lot of my videos. It might not be for me and for me right now, but there's definitely an audience for it, and if Samantha March wasn't on YouTube, I would be the audience. Along those same lines, I wanted to mention the Benefit box blushes. I for sure think I would have several of the box blushes from Benefit. Benefit was one of those brands, because also when I was thinking of this video, I was trying to remember what brands popped out at me and caught my attention when I would walk into an Ulta and a Sephora. I was just a good old regular consumer. I didn't watch beauty YouTube, didn't know that was a thing, was just reading my magazines with tips from celebrities in there and looking at photographs and trying to figure out how can I make myself look like that, right? Like, kids don't know how good they have it these days, okay? Benefit was always one of those brands that caught my attention, especially at Ulta Beauty. They, you know, maybe because they have like the brows there, but it just felt like there was always that Benefit section. And the packaging was always bright. A lot of times it was pink. I mean, I bought the Benefit boxes back in the day that had the Hula bronzer and had a blush and had like a stick gloss and had the What's Up highlighter. You bet your bottom dollar that that was in my makeup collection. I probably have videos on YouTube with it from 2016 because I thought that was fabulous. I was like, a little bit of everything in this one box. Sign me up, folks. One where I was trying to think, like, if I wasn't a YouTuber, but I still, maybe I consumed beauty YouTube, beauty TikTok, you know, Benefit just took a bunch of influencers on this brand trip around these blushes. I was at Ulta Beauty the other day and I was there for a while. I was shopping for myself. I was filming some content. I was also vlogging, so I was there for quite some time. I saw 3 separate girls come into Ulta Beauty and all went to that Benefit blush section. And you know why? Because there was a ton of marketing and a ton of advertising and everyone was talking about those blushes. That is what brand trips do. That is why I did a whole video about brand trips, and we talked in there, someone asked a question of, you know, do we really think brands are getting their money's worth out of that? I don't know. I watched 3 people come in and head immediately to the Benefit blushes, and that is what they grabbed. Probably because they saw somewhere on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok, their favorite influencer was probably raving about a certain shade and they wanted to go buy it. It was, sometimes it's really fascinating for me to go to an Ulta or a Sephora and observe. It's one of my favorite things to do because I find it super, super interesting. And I think that, say that I wasn't a beauty YouTuber, but I'm watching TikTok, I really believe that I would have gone and bought a Benefit box blush because Benefit is a brand that I've been using for a very long time. I'm familiar with their products. And if everyone else is talking about them, I'm gonna want to buy them too. So I really think that I would have one of those in my collection and I would be loving on it. Nowadays, I especially don't like the bigger box packaging. I know they have slimmed it down, but I'm still just not the biggest fan of the packaging, especially when it comes to like setting up my makeup collection. You know, we have like larger eyeshadow palettes and it's like, how am I supposed to fit this in my stacked collection of 100 eyeshadow palettes if this one is big and bulky or sits weird or doesn't stand up right? So that's just something too. Also Benefit, you know, sometimes Benefit has been in a little bit of the drama and it kind of made me pull back from the brand a little bit too, because it's not fun mentioning a brand or mentioning a product and then immediately getting so much hate because of something that that brand did. Not something that I did, but something that a brand did that people have taken offense to. I'm the one that's getting the heat for it because it's easier to yell at me than it is to yell at the brand. You know that I'm seeing your comments. You know other people are seeing the comments and then are taking to Reddit. The brand, they don't really care and they're still making money and they're still profiting off of it. So it's easier to come after the influencer because you know that there's a more solid chance you're actually hurting their feelings. I really think I would have a Benefit blush. Do you have a Benefit blush? I'm just curious. Speaking of brands that have been, you know, a little bit involved in the cancel culture, Too Faced. I really truly believe I'd still be out here buying the Better Than Sex mascara. I really, really believe that I would be. I have gone through tube after tube after tube after tube of that mascara. And I really enjoy testing out mascaras now because I have false lashes on today, but I don't wear false lashes all that often anymore. I've definitely developed some severe like eye allergies. I have a lot of reactions to certain things. I filmed a video on makeup I wasted my money on in 2022. That should already be live. I talk about the Pat McGrath Bridgerton palette. I bought a $65 6-pan eyeshadow palette and 2 of the shades give me an eye reaction. Big bummer. I now love testing out mascaras. It's one of my favorite things to review for my YouTube channel and to let people know. If I was not a YouTuber and if I wasn't trying to find all the great mascaras that don't give me an eye irritation and that don't smudge on me and that give my, you know, short, barely there lashes va-va-voom and volume and lift and length and darkness, if I wasn't on the hunt for the best mascara all of the time, I think I would just keep buying the same mascara that I love. And I thought of the Too Faced Better Than Sex because that was one of the first mascaras that I was like, yeah. Now, was it the marketing? Was it the packaging? Was it the pink tube? Was it the scandalous name? I don't know. All of that could have played into it. Maybe I would have the Too Faced Better Than Sex, or again, it's one of those where it's like, it's just my favorite. I'm just gonna keep buying that because what's the point of trying the new products unless I hear something, you know, absolutely being raved about, like the MAC Mac Stack Mascara, which is also mentioned in makeup I wasted my money on. That was a fail. But I think that I would just keep going back and back and back and back to my favorite mascara. Because why? I'm not trying to share my reviews. I'm not trying to share my knowledge. I'm not trying to be helpful to my online community. I'm just gonna keep buying what works for me. Why not the Better Than Sex? Ah, yes. You might have thought that I was gonna mention Tarte Cosmetics in this video. I think that I would still be buying a lot from Tarte. I really do. Tarte, again, is one of those brands that has a little bit more catchy packaging. The colors are a little bit more eye-catching. They usually have really beautiful displays at Sephora, and also they have a lot of products. I think that would definitely be a brand that I would buy a lot from. You hear me say quite frequently, especially in something like Will I Buy It videos where I touch on their new products, that Tarte just does not interest me as much anymore. There's also a bit of a story on there that I've never shared publicly because lawsuits were involved. Sometimes I don't think that quite everybody understands the extent of what it means to be an influencer, the risk that we take doing this. I got a contract today for a sponsorship and it said I must have, I'm pretty sure it said, was it $1 million policy that I had to have for like liability and all these other things? That's something that I have to have in order to sign a contract with a brand to do a sponsored video. There's so much more to this as a career, and I think because it is still fairly newer, there's a lot we're still learning about and that are still being brought up. There's things that I haven't mentioned from years ago for fear of getting in trouble, getting in legal trouble. There's a different side to this career than just free makeup, free brand trips, and there's more than just doing a career where you're really passionate about something and you really love something and you love what it is that you're talking about. This is a very serious business. There's a lot that can go on, and especially if you grow and you have certain opportunities with brands, there's a lot of risk and liability that can be involved. So that's a little bit about that. With Tarte, I remember going through one of the scariest moments of my career. Honestly, in my personal life too. Like I mean, I was just afraid. I didn't know what was gonna go on. And I've definitely backed away from the brand because that's something that truly just always kind of sticks out in my mind. If I was not a YouTuber, that would have never have happened to me. If I was not a YouTuber and I wasn't watching, you know, the online beauty community, I would probably have no idea any of the drama that Tarte was involved in. And I think that I would be happily buying some of their products. Their little circle eyeshadow palettes, I've bought some of those back in the day. I thought those were fun. Some of their cheek products, like I feel like I would be buying those. If I was watching the online beauty community and TikTok, their like Maracuja lip products, those have really gone viral over there. I think I definitely would have already gone in and bought some of those. So it's just interesting. It's just, this video was really interesting for me to sit down and think about all of the different ways that I would look at makeup and I would look at buying beauty products so differently if A, I wasn't a YouTuber, or B, if I wasn't online at all, or C, if I was a consumer and I consumed makeup information, makeup videos, and then was buying the makeup. I think it's all very different, and it's just really interesting to sit down and think about it. So I don't know, I hope some other people will do this style of video as well, because I would be really curious to hear what people would think and how they think their buying habits would be different and what they would be loving. I think it'd be interesting. The last product that I don't have in my collection to show, but I think that I would really enjoy would be the Maybelline Lifter Glosses. So again, these were getting a lot of attention. A lot of people were saying they were a dupe for Fenty Beauty, and I love Maybelline. I had to put Maybelline in this video because Maybelline was my favorite brand starting from the time that I was, you know, playing with my mom's makeup, my grandma's makeup. They just became a favorite brand of mine. I used them all throughout college. The start of my YouTube channel, I always kind of joke that you would have thought I was sponsored by Maybelline because I used so many of their products. I have so many Maybelline videos on my channel. They were just my favorite brand. I knew how they were gonna perform. They worked well for me. They were affordable. I could go down the street to Walgreens or CVS and pick them up. I could get them at Walmart. When these lifter glosses were getting a lot of attention, I went out and bought it. And I think that it's nice. I didn't think it was a Fenty dupe. I thought it was a good gloss, but it's one of those where it's like, I have so many glosses in my collection and I have so many favorite glosses, lip oils, that sort of thing, that it just was one of those that it's like, it's really nice, but it's not as nice as some of these that I have. But I think if I didn't have that gigantic collection, I would totally have a lifter gloss, maybe even two, that I would wear frequently. Just a couple products to finish up with here. I put in the Charlotte Tilbury Pillowtalk quad. This is a $53 quad. This is one that I could see having in my collection as my special event. Did anyone, or do you still have something like that in your collection? Because I've had that in my past makeup collections when I was younger too, where I did a lot of Maybelline and I did a lot of CoverGirl, but then I would have something like Too Faced or Benefit in my collection, and that would be kind of my special palette. When I was going out, doing something nicer, that sort of thing, I would reach for those special palettes. Because a lot of people talk about Charlotte Tilbury. A lot of people hype up a lot of products from Charlotte Tilbury, your girl included. But one thing I say about this, it's $53 for 4 eyeshadows. I only have 2 of these in my collection, and it's not something that I'm gonna be purchasing every time a new $53 quad comes out. I'm not like, yep, I need it, yep, I need it. I say I have my green lights, which is my fun, funky one, and then I have Pillowtalk, which is very kind of basic and everyday for me. And this is something that I think, once again, like I could have, you know, I'm divorced now, like I could have seen myself wearing this like on my wedding day, something like that, bridesmaid makeup, that sort of thing. I could definitely see this being something, if I didn't have a gigantic eyeshadow collection, that this would be one for me. It's one that I wanted to include it as well because I really like it and I think that it's a pretty palette. It's just, I have a lot of my basic everyday palettes that I enjoy so much, so sometimes this gets kind of pushed to the wayside a little bit, but I think if I had a smaller collection, that would be getting some use out of it. Kind of along those same lines a little bit, I have from e.l.f. This is the Cream and Sugar palette. These are like $3. I know these got a lot of attention in the internet world as well. So again, if I'm watching this and I'm heading to Target and I see these $3, $4 little palettes here, I'm definitely going to be buying them. And this is a very, once again, basic, everyday, all of the things type of eyeshadow palette. I think that I would use this one more if it wasn't for the Natasha Denona Mini Nude. I feel like I got those palettes around the same time, or I want to say that was how the timing worked out, and it was like, I just like the Natasha better. Even though that's $25 and this was only $3, I just like the Natasha quality better. If I wasn't a YouTuber and I didn't watch beauty YouTube, would I have ever tried the brand Natasha Denona? I don't know. They're available at Sephora, but she usually doesn't have bigger displays. Sometimes I see Natasha Denona on end caps, but I don't know if I'm just walking through as a consumer and I'm not familiar with Natasha Denona. I don't know if anything would really jump out at me from the brand. Now, I love the eyeshadow formula. It's one of my absolute favorite eyeshadow formulas. I buy the $65 palettes, I buy the mini palettes at $25, and I think that it's great. But if I did not have those in my collection, something like this from e.l.f., I would totally be down with. And the last thing I have from Wet n Wild, I really wanted to include Wet n Wild in here because again, this is a brand that when I was shopping, especially at CVS, Walgreens, I was always checking out the Wet n Wild section because it was so affordable. It was like, you just need a little eyeshadow palette here, this is $2. You need a brush here, this is $1. I'm like, what? Like, I bought so much Wet n Wild back in the day. So I have one of their matte lipsticks in my collection, and this is the Mega Last Matte Lip, and I have the shade Skinny Dipping. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful lipstick. It's affordable, but again, I have so many favorite lipsticks, and Charlotte Tilbury is one of my favorite lipstick brands. I wear hers constantly, that this one kind of always gets pushed pushed to the wayside. But if I didn't have that gigantic collection, heck yeah, I think I would have multiple Wet n Wild lipsticks because they're so affordable. It's like, why not? They're cute. They got the little lips on them. You know, they're a little bit Pat McGrath dupe-ish, but I probably wouldn't even know that if I didn't consume beauty YouTube videos and I was just going to CVS to pick up tampons and throwing a Wet n Wild lipstick in my cart. I've done that before. That's real life. But after that, let me check my list. After that, that is going to be everything for today's video. So I just thought that this would be a fun one. It kind of made me think a little bit of how my shopping habits might be different, how my makeup collection might be different, but also what I think that I would really be loving and using if I wasn't a YouTuber. And then I wanted to throw in a little spin of if I watched beauty videos versus if I did not watch beauty YouTube videos or Instagram or TikTok videos. So I hope that you found this one fun. It was enjoyable for me to come together, and the biggest thing I love to do is just talk about makeup products. So this was a really fun one for me to put together. If you make makeup videos, I would love if you did this one. I don't know if anyone else has done this one. I know we've done what our makeup collections would look like, but I wanted to add a little bit more to that. So if you haven't done a video like this and you wanted to, I think it would be really interesting. I hope you'll tag me so I can check it out because I'm very curious of what others' feedback would be. But other than that, that is going to be it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to give this one a thumbs up. I hope you also consider subscribing before you go, and I'll see you in my next video.